Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host, Ollie Fisher, joined once again by the reliable, the immovable, the ever-present Anthony Torgrud.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey,
Yeah, we
guys,
don't have
it's
Madison.
great.
He said he couldn't do it, so then we decided we would start 2 hours earlier so that he could do it, and he bailed. So here we are.
Says a lot about him. And as you can see by AJ's room, it's currently 2 a.m. over there, middle of the night or something. There's a bit of light just coming in through the blind, but yeah, it's a dark time. So it's a pathetic fallacy in some ways. We've got a lot to go through in this episode. We've got 4 games to talk about again, as has been the case for some weeks now. Cup review, which was a demolition job. That could be pretty quick. Damaging defeat. And then a couple of games to come, including one of which is the 125th anniversary game. So they'll try and make that a party, but everyone's well aware what's going on. Although we have just dropped nearly 200 quid on the on the shirts because sucker for capitalism, limited edition. Ooh, must buy.
I think between the chat, we probably collectively spent over $1,000 on it.
Yeah.
You got one. I got one. Lorenzo's already received his. Isaac got one. Who else?
Ivan had the ball in his basket as well, which was 50 quid.
Yeah, it's a nice looking ball, but
you're never going to use it though, are you? So it kind of
defeats.
It's a decorative ball. Yeah,
we must jersey too. They all are.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Wall, so.
Well, I panicked, didn't I? This was before you woke up, but I bought so I saw the limited edition one had sold out on pre-order on the Milan store, so I went straight to Puma and got the lesser version, the one that was 120 quid, I think it was, with just the normal collar rather than the buttoned one. And then someone sent the link to the store where it had the more expensive version, and so I cancelled the other order and got that just in a nick of time. There were only 3 larges left in stock when I bought mine, so got there in the nick of time. It is due at some point today. Might do an unboxing of it for the channel or something because it's presented in quite a cool way. I won't spoil it if you're unaware, but yeah. Before we dive in to the ep, I want to say thank you to our Substack founding members: Des Windsor McGlynn, Tito, Matt Morris, Polman, Joey Gawler, Kemin, Mats, Luke Villano, Ral Escobar, Jack, Carlo Fassi, Nasser, Merlin Finker, Derek Favretto, Heavenly 13, Mike Schulz, JT Physio, Tarek Marco Valleja, and Roberto Racinos. Cheers, as always. MJ, where are you, man? Where are you? Need to take more note of that. But yeah, that list of names continue to be loyal to us, and we thank them for that and for supporting what we're doing over on the Substack. What have we had over there in the last few days? Reminder, you could try a week for free. The bonus episode that we did on Friday was called Stonks and Stinkers. We did like a Milan stock market thing. We each picked 3 players that have seen their value rise since Fonseca's been here, and 3 whose value has declined. Isaac's bonus article was a deep dive into Milan's wage bill, comparing us with our 2 main rivals, Inter and Juve, both in terms of the total, how it might trend in the future, top earners of teams compared, and there was some interesting indications from it. I've always said wage bill runs congruent with success, and I think that there are some proofs in there too. And there was a newsletter which was about us winning 3 in a row, and we have no longer got a winning streak that is active, unfortunately. But as part of that, you get the main news bulletin as well, which has all of the key stories if you can't keep up with what's going on a day-to-day basis on the site. There will be a pub chat, I'm informed. It's just going to be a couple of days later than usual because Stefano has the sniffles. All right, let's do the Sassuolo game first. Get the 6 goals out the way.
This was the only fun one, huh?
Yeah, it was. Funny, because full time, we'd scored 6 goals. We'd won emphatically. There were some positive takeaways from it too. Chukwueze getting a brace, and Leao scored a really nice goal. The team sort of seemed to click and really flow. But full time whistle when I just didn't feel anything. Like another 90 minutes, kind of like the Empoli game where it's like we hadn't learned anything there. You're just constantly yearning for that next big game, the one where we might go out and get a result that proves that we've And maybe I'm saying that with the hindsight of what happened on Friday night, which obviously we're going to come on to, but we ended up playing Sassuolo's B team, basically. They didn't play Thordsvet, they didn't play Bolocca, two midfielders. Berardi didn't start, and Loriente didn't start. So they basically changed half of their team. They're trying to get promoted back to Serie A from Serie B, and they're top at the moment. So I guess they're just prioritizing that rather than trying to do something daft against us. But yeah, I don't know what. Where do we go?
I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't fun to watch, right? Like
Yeah,
6 goals is always a good time. Um, 4 of them in the opening 25 minutes. Plus, I believe
yeah,
there were 2 offside goals called, one for them, one for us. So,
hmm
you know, more times the ball's in the back of the net, more exciting moments, even if they're called off, you still react when the ball hits that net. So, I
yeah,
mean, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, Chukwueze had a brace; he looked great. Tijani had again another fantastic goal as he's had.
yeah,
Liao had a fucking rocket. I mean, the pass to Liao from RLC was
mm,
fairly slow and just slightly behind him, but somehow the power that Liao got when he took that first time was incredible. Like it actually made me drop my jaw. I was like, "Whoa,
mm,
that was really impressive." Love that. Again, at that point, it was the goal to make us 4-0. So it's not like Sassuolo was really doing a whole lot to resist us at that point. You know, it was kind of whatever, foregone
hmm
conclusion. Um, I don't remember where the offside goals were. I believe both of them were in the first half actually. So they were around there. Second half, we made 4 halftime subs. Brought on Pulisic. We brought on Musa, Okafor, and Toriani came on for Sportiello, who we should mention got his first start this season, first minutes because he impaled his hand over the preseason tour in the summer, falling down the stairs in the hotel.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know what hotel it was, but in the USA, that's a pretty big deal. So Milan should
yeah,
be looking to
yeah.
get some money out of that, and they definitely could. Um, probably more than
That was it.
Sportiello's contract.
Then you can use it to pay him off. I think it was in New York that it happened, if I
Mm,
remember rightly. But yeah, who knows? Maybe there was a bit of liability on his part.
yeah, maybe.
Might have been steaming drunk, is what I'm trying to say.
There you go.
And then,
Could have got some
but
of that Juan Soto money though. You know,
yeah, yeah, we'll just talk about that if you want.
I don't know anything about baseball. I've just seen Martino yelling at people who support the Yankees, and it's like, bro,
Yeah,
chill. It's all good.
they, they reached the World Series as well. Um, yeah, 4 goals in 11 minutes in the first half basically ended this as a contest. And I agree with you. I won't sit here and say it wasn't entertaining to watch. It was like every time we went forward, we scored. And that's always fun, no matter what. And it's Sassuolo, so there is a little bit of like, quite like us giving them a beat down, given everything that's happened in recent years
Yeah,
against them.
felt good.
Yeah, it did feel good. And also, when it was happening, if you take out what happened a few days later, when it was happening, you can't say that you felt like it was a bad thing. You're getting the forwards in form. Leao and Reinders continuing their good form. We looked fluid. There was positional interchange. It was one of those games where I think he could afford to experiment a little bit, and the players could afford to take risks that they don't normally. And what I
Hmm.
hoped is that it would give courage into the conviction, of like, this is what you can do when you play a bit more carefree, like the Juve game where we didn't risk enough. That was a game where, in addition to the Empoli one, I suppose, where you're like, this is what you can do, if you believe in yourselves. Sounds cringe, but just do it. You're talented. But then, yeah, there's the caveat of the level of opponent. And also, I was surprised by Fabio Grosso's tactics. I know when they went behind, it's like, what's the point in then trying to defend? But they basically just remained open for the entire 90 minutes.
Hmm.
He came out afterwards and he was like, I'm not angry. I was just disappointed. Like, mate, you maybe could have been a little bit more pragmatic than what we saw. But they had a couple of moments, as you say. They had a disallowed offside goal that was Antiste, and he was about to go running off to the corner flag going nuts, and that goal would have made it 4-1. So I don't know what I don't know, man. Calabria got one in the second half.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, yeah.
probably should have gone in initially prior to the ball falling to him, and then he hammers it in. But that was good. And who got Tammy? Yeah, Tammy got the sixth one.
Was
Which
this
was
the
nice.
game
Good for him.
where Chukwueze hit the post and then the rebound in? Okay.
That was his
Oh,
first goal. Yeah, he got
yeah.
put through
Okay.
on goal. One thing I will say is, what I really liked from the wingers in this game is how, like, obviously start on the left and right, but they arrowed inwards. You know, they almost like running to meet in the penalty spot kind of thing. Chukwueze got two of his goals that way, balls over the top to the penalty spot, one from Reinders, which was an absolute beauty, by the way. And he brought them both down well, and he finished the second one better than the first one, but they both ended up in goals, so I'm okay with that. And then Leao, the way that he scored his goal, tracked in from the left, and he makes a run across the box. Remember when he came on against Lazio and scored the equaliser when Tammy put him through, and he
Yeah.
scored from the right side of the box and just hit it. It was basically a carbon copy of that goal. So it's good to see that the movements are there, you know. But yeah, there's just not too much to take from this. They gave up a bit, and it's like it's only a result that means something if it means if you see more of it in the next game, and we
Yeah.
didn't. So it's like I don't care about it anymore,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But we're in the quarterfinals. You know, we are now 2 rounds from the final. Quarters will be against Roma or Sampdoria at home,
Mhm.
which is winnable on paper, and then we'll see about the semis because you know we say it's Inter, but Napoli have been knocked out, Fiorentina have been knocked out, so that's on the other bracket. But it just proves that some shocks can happen.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah.
interesting because, like you said, this is the game where it doesn't feel important until or it doesn't feel whatever until the next game and you see and it carries over.
hmm
If we didn't have that Atalanta game already, obviously the mood would be different, right? Like we'd all be like, yeah, we just won 6-1, we could do it. Yes, it was the B team of a Serie B team, but the plays were there. You could see Fonseca's style. It's exactly how he explained the type of football he wanted to play. It just
Yeah.
shows that they're only able to implement it against a weaker side. But at this point, we were riding a 3-game winning streak, unbeaten in our last 7, including a win over Real Madrid in that. So we kind of were thinking like, okay, like this is, maybe we're finally hit that turning point. And then Atalanta. And then
Yep.
once again, Atalanta is the team that ends everything for us as usual. And now all of a sudden we
Yeah.
went from oh, who won yesterday? Was it Napoli or Lazio won? Ah, I missed that.
Lazio won 1-0. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the only team we didn't gain any points on anyone this
No.
weekend, obviously, because we lost. But
Yeah.
we lost points on everyone but Napoli, who are still 10 ahead of us. And that's worrying, right? That's very worrying. We're tied
Mm.
with Bologna, who had a they were seconds away from beating Juventus and jumping us.
Yeah.
And that is the game in hand. So now all of a sudden that went from, well, once we win the game in hand to,
Mm.
I don't know if we're
Are we
winning
going to
this.
win it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we even
So
going to get anything? Especially given how we are away from home. We're shit away from home. Essentially. But yeah. We'll wrap up the Sassuolo one quickly.
mhm,
Good 6 goals. At least the fans who went were treated to a show. We made 8 changes to the starting lineup as well. Some eyebrows raised with the fact that he decided to play Reinders, Fofana, and Leao because those are like arguably the 3 most important players for the Atalanta game. And what I will say is that the 3 of them then went on to look a bit jaded on Friday night.
mhm.
But it's like we criticise Fonseca. We criticised Pioli for his rotations that were a bit reckless, where he changed 10 of the 11 or whatever, and say
Yeah.
you need to keep your most important core of players out, get the job done, and then you can make the changes at half time. Bit different because that was often league games. And this was, obviously you're not going to score 4 in 11 minutes every game. But he sort of went against that and was like, right, I'm going to keep those 3 really important guys out there. And they did help contribute to getting the job done, which was good. And then at halftime, he was able to bring some of them off. I think he said he would have brought Reinders off at halftime too if Sportiello and RLC hadn't had their physical problems. And probably Kamada would have got a run out too if it wasn't.
Mm.
Like a couple of the subs had to be made. They were forced changes, so that didn't really help. But yeah, overall, job done. Man of the match for me, I'll give it Chukwueze because he scored a brace. But shout out Tammy, goal and an assist. And yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's Chukwueze is the
Reinders
clear
was good.
MVP, but definitely Tammy honorable mention. Golden assist, he looked good. It was nice to see him back in form.
Mm.
Flop. I mean, it's harsh to give anyone a flop in a 6-1 victory. So I'm just not going to, because otherwise, then I'm picking on Toriani. And I don't need to do that. So
Yeah.
no flop.
Well, Tomori was the one who lost his man for that goal, and he'd been a threat all game. The guy who scored, Mulletieri, I think it was. So yeah, you can maybe say Tomori because we conceded one goal, and it was because of his lack of attention inside the box. But I would say that more than half the blame goes to the goalkeeper there. Like, you cannot let it in at your near post like that. It was pretty bad. Then it feels harsh to criticize a goalkeeper who's so young and only came on at half time, and it's tough. No flop. Let's abstain. Let's move on.
We got some flops here.
Flops indeed. Milan were one big flaccid dick of a team. That's my assessment of it. It was pretty bad. So I joined Lorenzo for the watch along of this
Okay.
for most of the game, and then I had to dip out early in both halves just to write up the report. But this was a real anticlimax of a game, dare I say. I think it would have been logical to predict multiple goals, given how both teams have scored. They'd scored 34 goals heading into this. We'd scored 15 in our last 5 and 12 in our last 4 coming into this. 12 in our last 3, sorry. So goals were to be expected. When we opened them up after 20 seconds and Pulisic gets away down the right side of the box and fires that shot, I instantly thought it was like that Calabria one when we won 3-2 against Atalanta away, and he hit it at the keeper and then collected the rebound and put it in. And yeah, we went 3-0 up in that, and then they came back with a couple of late goals, probably 2 of which shouldn't have stood. But then we missed that chance. It's like, hopefully we don't live to regret that. But I thought it was a strange game. I thought it was a really, really strange game. I don't think that Atalanta played anywhere near their best. I actually would go so far as to say that on the hour mark, me and Lorenzo were saying on the stream, they're there for the taking here. Like, this isn't them at their best. We can get at them. And then that was also the point, kind of coincide with Pulisic going off as well, where we settled back and decided that we were happy with the draw, which I think is strange in the position that we were in. But then, yeah, we can see 2 set-piece goals. So you manage to stop such a ruthless attacking team from open play, and you still lose the game and concede multiple goals. It's kind of unforgivable in that way. But that's just a general overview of, like, because everything that happens in the 90 minutes is what it is. You can analyze individual incidents. You can pick apart what happens in the goals, and that has been done. Tactical analysis on the website, but what matters most, I think, is the feeling for all of us at the end of the game, which is like, we fucked it again. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 1 step forward, 3 steps back. I mean, it just look. I was talking about how it felt going into this game like we had hit a turning point. Things were finally clicking. Maybe Fonseca just took longer to implement his ideals, and now it's going to work, and we're going to see an upturn, and maybe we do find those Champions League spaces. But I mean, this one was just a gut punch, right? It was.
Yeah.
It really felt like the final nail in the coffin. The exact moment Pulisic went off, everyone knew, because who was Fonseca going to bring on? We knew it was Loftus-Cheek. We knew it was him. He could have brought on Tammy, moved Morata back, and done it like that. He could have brought on Chukwueze and moved Musa to the mid. There were options, and taking off arguably the best player on the team, definitely the best attacker in current form, and bringing on a guy who just doesn't know how to pass the ball, doesn't know how to do a whole lot besides stand there and get tackled or try to draw a free kick, and sometimes doesn't. It's Loftus-Cheek is just such a frustrating player to have on the squad right now, because nothing he does works, and the fans have seen it for weeks, months, and yet he still gets every single game. I don't understand, and I'm not trying to put all the blame on him, but it was a catalyst of everything coming together. And when your star player goes off hurt in 38 minutes after you just had not a late, but you equalize, CDK scored on us. He posterized Teo. posterized, jumped on top. Look, I've seen people say it was a foul. I would hate it if it was given against us. I have seen them given. Whatever the ref wants to do in that situation. It was 12 minutes in, so that's going to set the tone of the game. And I don't know. If he called it, obviously I'd have been like, great, awesome, goal annulled. But to me, that's a goal. It's not a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
It should be a goal. You should call it. So that's a goal. And then 10 minutes later, Morata scores. Okay, great, because he had an early goal called offside. They're like, okay, Morata's kind of getting in form. That's good. There were some questions about him even starting because Tammy was in such good form coming into the game. Morata's been out of form the last few games, so it was nice to see him get that. I shouldn't say last few games because he did score against Empoli as well, I believe. So
Yeah.
maybe that's not accurate, but it was good to see him come in and score. 10 minutes later, equalizer, and we really were the dominant side up to CDK's goal, and then maybe, I don't know, around the 15th minute till, I would say, the exact moment Pulisic came off, 38th minute.
So, yeah.
We were definitely the better team, and like you said, they were there for the taking. We had opportunities, and I just knew we weren't going to take them as soon as he came off. As soon as Loftus-Cheek was on, it was just
Play a
game
man
over.
down. Yeah.
It was. It was a man down, and it wasn't just one man down because even before he was on, oh, that's weird. Even before he came on, if you just look at it, like, yeah, Morata had the goal, but overall he was near non-existent. Anytime he got the ball, he was offside. And then you had uh, Musa, who was having an all-time stinker. And then you had Fofana, who was having an all-time stinker. And then you had Emerson, who was having his usual all-time stinker. And side note, this is how I know Stefano's actually very sick right now, is because in the chat he was saying how good of a game Emerson was having, and I don't know what he was watching. Maybe his eyes were affected. I don't know what's going on.
I think
But
he might have been drowsy on the old meds, maybe.
yeah, that was crazy because I was like, this guy's the worst player I've ever seen consistently. Every game it gets worse and worse. I'm always more impressed by how bad he gets. But the whole right side of the pitch was just not getting anything right. So the problem with that is, if all the bad people are having bad games, and I don't want to say all the bad because Fofana's not typically bad, but he was having a bad game. If any of the good players are also having a bad game, you're fucked. Teo was having a bad game. Leao had a decent game. I'll give him that. I didn't think he looked bad. He was actually kind of lively.
Yeah.
Same with Reinders, of course. But you can't win when you have all those players playing against you. And then
Yeah.
the best guy in the middle of the field comes off hurt, and you have other attacking options, and you put on just cement shoes. I mean, it's so frustrating. I can't go in it enough. And then now knowing that he's going to miss the anniversary game, potentially the Super Cup in January against Juventus, he's probably going to miss now. It's so frustrating. Like, this was the moment when we had the most back-to-back games in the shortest amount of time, and we're without our best players. So we're going to see a lot of Loftus-Cheek, and it's not going to be pretty, guys. It's not going to be pretty.
No, it's not. No, it's really. I feel for him because, like, that was one of the things that was going against him in his time at Chelsea, and here it felt like we'd fixed it almost, and he'd become quite reliable from that point of view. I hope this isn't the first problem of many. You can never really speculate with injuries. We don't know what's to come, and thankfully, it isn't something as bad as like Benacer's, where he's completely torn his calf or anything.
Yeah.
He's expected to be out about 15 days. I think he'll go to the Super Cup, to be honest. Like, he's got near enough a month. I think he'll be okay for that, but we're not going to see him again in 2024. You wouldn't have thought, as a precaution, and it's at a time when we really need to win all 4 games just to try and pick up the broken glass that's on the floor and make it into something this season. And we're without our most important player, our most consistent player, the leader of the attack, and everything like that.
I do think we could
for him.
win the next 3 games without him. I think we could get away with it. Red
Yeah.
Star, Genoa, and Verona. Obviously, Genoa
Yeah,
the
I'd agree.
anniversary game, so we should win that one. But Roma might be difficult.
Yeah, they played. Did they last night or the night before? Last night they beat someone 4-1 at home.
Lecce.
Lecce, yeah. I mean, they're shy, but yeah, the under Ranieri, you don't really know what you're getting with them. I maintain that because can galvanize when you've got a caretaker like him who means so much to the club. But yeah, like for example, you see the substitution that we made, and I don't want to say that I fully supported it because that's not what I'm getting at, but I just thought bringing on RLC was so predictable because I think he didn't want to lose the element of control that we had in the middle of the pitch. I think we'd actually done well up to that point of the injury in the sense that we'd gone behind and instead of folding, we reacted really well and we got the equaliser through Morata and it was a lovely goal. And I think he just wanted to make sure that we remained that compact and remained winning the battles in the middle of the field. So that's why I'm not really surprised at the change that was made. But I think it was also indicative of the mindset that we then played the rest of the game with. It was very conservative. And then going into the last 15 minutes when, as we kind of said, thought Atalanta aren't at their best here. One more goal could nick it. And it would be a very impressive win for us. You know, we'd halt their winning streak at 8 games. They brought on Samardzic and Retegi. They went attacking with those subs because they sensed a chance to win as well. Whereas we didn't. I mean, we waited until we conceded to bring Chukwueze on for Musa, and we gave Chukwueze 3 minutes. It's like I felt a bit sorry for him, really.
Yeah, after
Can't
scoring
do
a
much with that.
brace, being the MVP
Yeah.
of the previous game, you'd almost argue he should have started. I mean, we all knew it was going to be Musa starting because of this, defensive overlap thing. But to
Mm.
me, if you're acknowledging that your right back is not strong enough defensively, that you have to sacrifice your right wing to be a second right back, basically, maybe the issue's the right back. Like
Yeah, maybe
maybe
so.
we allow Calabria to start, who didn't ever need a second right back on there. Obviously, he wasn't the best either. Or maybe change the formation altogether. 3-4-3. You could put Tamori as that third center back, still leave Gabia Chow up there, or even Pavlovic if you want someone more aggressive. You have Musa then as the right mid. You have Teo as the left mid. He's already getting forward anyways. It doesn't matter. You still have your midfield two of Fofana and Reinders. And then you could have the same front three of Leao, Morata, and Pulisic. And, it's... Yeah,
Get
well,
well soon, Christian.
yeah, you
I
could
guess
have.
Chukwueze. Yeah, could
Or
have done.
Chukwueze. I don't know. I feel like there's other solutions instead of basically sacrificing a position, forcing yourself to play not 10 men down because you're not, but you get rid of that threat. And the other thing is the left side is so double covered that
Mm.
all the attacks are going to the right side, which has no outlet anymore because Musa has to play so deep. And Emerson's right there with him, and they both get forward a lot, but it's rarely productive. Rarely. They do get crosses into the box. I'm not going to pretend like they don't, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like the right plan. And yeah, sure, you held this team to only 2 goals. Are they the top attacking team in Serie A right now?
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they're
So
on
okay, you
36.
held them to 2 goals. I get it. Like it does work. Obviously, we didn't concede anything against Juventus either, and we did against Madrid, and we won 3-1. So like it does work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you lose that attacking player, knowing that the rest of your team is not an attacking team, and you're basically
Mm.
you're tied 1-1 at this point. Go for it. Go for it. You have to win. You have to win. Your job is on the line. You have to win. Go for it. And you just didn't.
Yeah, or like, if you're going to make that change then, and I still don't massively dispute it necessarily, but like, you make that change then because it's minute 38, right? So then maybe you get through to the break and the instructions change. Maybe you're playing a 3. I don't know. Then you get to minute 60 and you realize the way that the game's going, and it's like we can win this. Like that, they're not blowing us away by any means. Then you can make that positive change because the team's already stabilized by that point. Then you can bring Chukwueze on and capitalize on. No doubt he's feeling a bit of confidence after the brace in midweek. They just that not making a change until after we conceded, and fucking hell, Chukwueze, did he even get the ball? I don't know. He
I really
came
don't
on
know if he
right at
did.
the end, and yeah, it was bad.
He had 1 minute played, 4 touches.
Oh wow.
But I mean, honestly, and I'm not even saying this to be funny. His stats are better than Loftus Cheeks. He
Mm.
had 3 accurate passes in that 1 minute, 4 touches, 2 recoveries, 0 duels lost, 0 dispossessions. And let me pull up good old Ruben here and see what he did. I mean, 96% passes. Okay, that's solid, but he rarely passed. That's the part that frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 touches in the other box, in the opposition box. Chukwueze had 4. Like, what? Uh, dispossessed 1 time, 0 aerial duels won, 5 out of 8 ground duels won, 2 fouls committed, 3 fouls against. I mean, okay, so they were about even, but the problem is one played 1 minute, one played since the 38th minute.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, I disagree with what you're saying about you bring him on and you see how it's going, and then if we're feeling like we could win, you bring him on. You bring on Chukwueze. I think you start with Chukwueze because that's the most natural like for like, and that's my issue is they view Loftus Cheek as a natural attacking midfielder. He's never been one. At Chelsea, he
No.
was not an attacking midfielder. He was box to box. That's where Pioli played him when he was most successful. And then all of a sudden, due to injuries, we're playing him as attacking mid, the position this team doesn't even need because they don't have any naturals. Even that's probably Pulisic's worst position. He's just our best player, and that's why he could do it. I,
Mm.
I don't know. To
It
me, it
probably
just
does
blows my
highlight
mind.
the. I think it highlights the lack of a deputy attacking midfielder too. Because if at any point Pulisic can't play there, and now we're without him, there is no natural player to put there anymore. You know, RLC isn't it? That's why I still feel a little bit for him. Like he's not helped himself with his performances. His decision making's been shit. Like he's not had a good season, Loftus Cheek at all. But also, like, please play him in the right position for God's sake. Give him a chance to succeed.
Mhm.
You know, he's 6'4" and he's built like a house. I don't think he's going to be quite the same intricate attacking playmaker that
Yeah.
you know.
I would say Reinders
And
has the best chance of succeeding there. The problem with that is he's also the only one on the team who knows how to pass the ball, so you can't play him that forward. You need him a bit
yeah,
deeper. It's a catch-22, and I mean, I know we're not gonna see any changes. I know it's just gonna be like for like, he's playing attacking midfield for the games that Pulisic's out, but I would love to see a system change, just a flat 4-3-3. Just
yeah,
change
me
it.
too.
Just change it.
I think that's what probably should have happened in this game. To be honest, like um, if you could bring Chukwueze on and then move Musa inside to form a midfield three, Chukwueze on the right, and then you still got the coverage of Musa being in the team and on that right side. Like, I don't think that was too much to ask, but whatever, here's what it is. I mean, you look at the stats here. Atalanta 2.06 xG to our 0.62. They had 8 shots on target to our 2, 4 shots off target to our 3. They had 52% possession. It was 7 corners to 0 in their favour. We made 6 saves. Maignan made 6 saves. Their keeper made 1. It looks like they've beaten us. Well, you know, you'll look back at the stats in years to come and think, oh yeah, they deserved to win that, and yet the way the game was, it didn't feel that way to me.
And remember, Retege, the league's top goal scorer, didn't even start.
hmm,
Came on in the 76th minute.
hmm,
You had Samardzic, probably the best attacking midfielder on their team, doesn't start, didn't start, came on 76th minute.
hmm.
You had Kosuno, whatever his name is,
Yeah, Kasunu.
came on even later or around the same time in defense,
Yeah.
obviously. But this is the guy who just came off of an unbeaten season with Bayer Leverkusen. They got him cheap. Like, this is the difference, their depth. They also brought on Scalvini, who's been injured for a long time, but
Mm.
came back last week, had his 100th appearance. Was that guy over the summer that everyone said, if it's not Bongiorno, it's Scalvini. He obviously got hurt. No one got him, but like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
showing their depth. And then, of course, they have Brescianini, one of our former players. And then, of course, it was CDK, one of our former players who scored on us, current player,
Yeah.
technically. And then, of course, it was Pasalic, one of our former players who took out Pulisic. It's
Yeah.
it's frustrating, man. It's very frustrating.
Really, really frustrating. Felt really
And Bellanova, another one of our former players.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I felt very, very like deflated after this one. To be honest, I couldn't be angry at anything. I know Fonseca came out and directed his anger at the referee
He's an
specifically.
idiot.
Some of the stuff that he said, I mean, he should probably get a ban for what he said. saying that he refereed the entire game against Milan. He influenced the outcome of the game. He was disgusted by the decisions. Like, all that stuff should probably get you a 1-game ban, to be honest. And we'll wait and see. Apparently, he's going to do some kind of plea bargain thing where he apologizes and maybe only gets a fine. But I think he was. I'd like to see that he was fired up after the game, because I think we all knew the magnitude of the defeat. Like, we've slipped so far behind the leading pack now that we've just write it off. We're not even going to be in the. We were not even going to be in the Scudetto discussion as of 3 or 4 weeks ago. You probably needed to beat Juve. That was the game to kind of relaunch yourself. Definitely not now. But now it's like fourth place is a fucking mountain to climb. We're 9 points off.
Yeah, let's look at the table. We're in 7th, 5
not
points
good.
outside of 6, which is awful. No matter what, we're sitting there for at least 2 more weeks. It's crazy. But let's do our head to head. Okay, first place Atalanta, lost. Second place Napoli, lost. Third place Inter, victory, cool. Fourth place Fiorentina, loss. Fifth place Lazio, come from behind, draw. Sixth place Juventus, 0-0, boring ass draw.
When they didn't have any
5
strikers.
points out of the top 6. 5 points. That's not even
5
a
out of
perfect
18.
team. That is so bad. It's awful. I mean, there's no reason we don't deserve to qualify for the Champions League if this is how we're going to play. We're 6-4-4. We have 6 defeats this season. You know who has less? Inter have 5 defeats since the Champions League final 2 seasons ago. We have 6 this season.
They all feel like they've been really damaging as well, Yeah, fucking hell, we are right on the precipice of just falling into the abyss, aren't we? I don't even know, man. It's shit. Like, I don't necessarily think that. I don't know. I was going to say, I don't think that, like, it's a write-off just yet. But one thing that you can't keep doing is doing this, like, you win 2 or 3 games against teams that you should beat, and then you arrive at a big game and lose. Then you think about, we've had the big games like Inter and Real Madrid where we've proven that we can play at that level, and then it's just irreplicable. So you're just stuck in this cycle, effectively, of winning the games that you should game, and then winning the games that you should win, and then when you're asked to take that leap mentally and in terms of performance level and in terms of consistency, we haven't done it. So then you've got to be introspective and think, okay, is it the players that are struggling to string together, several good performances? Is it purely coaching? Is he not sending the right instructions out? Is he getting out coached by his opposite number in the big games? Is it a squad depth thing? Are we not managing players right? The answer is it's probably a big combination of factors, but none of it really matters until you arrive at that end point, which is so damning, and it's that we probably are not going to qualify for the next Champions League. So, for example, when you've got newspapers talking about how there's still optimism on the European front because we might finish in the top 8 of the Champions League table, well, what does that matter if we're not in it next season? We're not going to go in and win it, are we? To qualify.
To be fair, we did beat the reigning Serie A champs and the reigning Champions League.
We should automatically qualify. Yeah.
No, it's
just so difficult because it's like it's just like we're trying hard. We're trying to buy into it. We're trying, and you see the teams above us, and I think barring Inter, they've basically all had a revolution of sorts in the summer. So this idea of patience and needing time to assimilate methods, and so, I mean, Palladino and Marco Barone they can't be better coaches than Fonseca. I mean, maybe they're proving that they are, but going into this season, you wouldn't have said that they're better coaches than Fonseca in terms of what they've achieved. In terms of the fact that, with respect, Baroni ended up at Lazio and Palladino made the jump from Monza to Fiorentina. You'd say those are like just little gradual steps up rather than going for the big job, and we weren't in for those. And yet we're so far behind them, so far behind them. And we could well go on and win the 3 league games to end 2024. But we'll be reminded once again of how far behind we are in the Super Cup. We'll either get bumped in the semis by Juve or get slapped by Inter in the final. And I can't be arsed with that. And then you enter into that tough cycle again of the remaining 2 Champions League games, important league games, all while, winning a couple and then, I can't be full. It's already annoying me this season.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing is I'm not even mad at Fonseca, right? He's played or he's managed 20 games for us. He's won 10. He's a 50% manager, and throughout his career, he has always been a 50%. Before joining us, he hovered at 51% in his career. Now he's dropped to 50 by adding another 50. Like he's always been on the cusp. This is exactly what you can expect from a guy like Paulo Fonseca. And yet the management still chose to go with it. This is still the guy they picked. After wanting Lopetegui, who I don't know his win rate, but it certainly can't be better than 50%.
Seen that tonight, West Ham Wolves is El Sakiko, because Gary O'Neill's or Lopetegui's going to lose their job based on...
Yeah, and then we're going to bring him in because that was who they originally wanted, and this proves the fans were wrong, right? That's the idea they're going to use is, the fans didn't want Lopetegui, so we gave him Fonseca. The fans didn't ask for Fonseca. Fonseca was not a name that ever came up over the summer. They wanted the guy who just went to United. What was his name? Amorim.
Yeah, I really wanted him. Like when we did that, did that pitching like the next manager thing.
Yeah.
Interestingly as well, Pietro Mazzara from Milan News did a column for Milan News that got published today. And as part of it, in a paragraph, he said, in the summer, Milan could have got Gianpiero Gasperini, who, after the victory of the Europa League, seemed to have closed his cycle with Atalanta. He would have accepted the job, probably bringing technical and mental revolution that the management instead went to look for in a foreign profile. Now, I'm not saying that I would have said yes to Gasperini over all the other names.
I would have.
Maybe. You could have talked me around to it, but he is like 70-something now, but whatever. But it's more like what that hire would have represented. We go and get the manager who's probably playing the most attractive football in the league, who has just won the Europa League with an absolute masterclass in the final. That guy wanted the job. He would have come to us, and it just felt like we decided we were going to fish in the pool below.
The manager in first wanted us. The manager in second wanted us. Like,
crazy.
It's crazy. So now when Fonseca inevitably gets sacked, because he's going to, I don't know when, it'll probably be after the end of the season. Conceição is still available. They're going to pass up on him if they did it before. I don't know why.
Because you can't go to another Portuguese coach. That's what they'll say.
Well, Fonseca was born in Mozambique. But anyways, fun little trivia fact there for you guys.
That's good, that. Yeah.
Who is the other manager? Oh, Sarri? Maurizio Sarri? That's the other guy that's available right now? Is that who we want? Probably not.
Duh, you're going to say it, aren't you?
I'll liquidate the site. If we get Allegri, oh my God. No, we'd win. We'd win it all with him.
I'd have him. Defense needs fucking sorting out.
So
no, I wouldn't have him. No, because you can't go from where we're at now, which is an unwatchable mess, to still being unwatchable. But we'd squeeze over the line in more games. Yeah, I had a bit of a, I wouldn't say it was an argument, a discussion with somebody earlier who said, we would not be in this mess under Pioli, and in hindsight, we probably should have just kept on with him. It's like, that isn't the answer either. Like, I think there was almost a unanimous agreement that we'd reached the end of our cycle with him, and it was time to move on and get some. Even Pioli seemed to accept it in a strange way, that like it was time for fresh ideas.
He went through 2 contract renewals. I mean, doesn't happen in modern football. It just doesn't happen. So
almost 5 years, which is incredible considering our track record prior to that.
And he was signed as a caretaker.
But just because we may not have got the replacement right doesn't mean that the original decision to move on from him was wrong, basically, is what I'm trying to say, because I know that keeps coming up as a point of discussion. Atalanta, top. Flop Teo, I'm sick to death of this fucker now. He's been shite all season. Shit. And I said barring one or two games, but he just looks so disinterested and so not up for the fight. You know, I don't actually apportion that much blame to him for the CDK goal. CDK is 4 inches taller than him, and like when you rise him for a back post header like that, whether he put an arm into him or not, like there was only going to be one winner for that ball. It was hung up perfectly to the back post. But it's just everything aside from that. Like you should be fired up to fuck after that. You know, like I ain't having that. He's just posterized me on national TV. I'm going to go out and it never came. The response never came. He just seems to be playing at such a week in, week out, 5 out of 10 level. Weak being the operative word. He is just a shadow of his old self at the moment and needs to figure it out. If he's not getting along with Fonseca, then cut your losses. You know, send him on his way in January and go get Dorgu or something. But yeah, not happy with him. He's wearing the armband and he's parading around like he doesn't give a fuck. And when he does give a fuck, like the Fiorentina game, he goes way over the top and gets himself a 2-game ban. Like, yeah, not having it.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I think that's more of a season-long indictment on Teo than the Atalanta match. Specifically, Atalanta
Probably.
match, I'm going Emerson. The equalizing goal, just go back and watch that and let me know what you think of Emerson. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, fair.
Or, I'm sorry,
Apparently,
not the
Calabria's
equalizing, the go-ahead
the
goal.
yeah. Apparently, Calabria is going to start against Red Star, so
Bring
that
him back.
place is up for grabs again. You know, it just is. It has to be. Yeah, I'm not going to pick a top. I'm happy with the goal. We scored a nice goal. It was a nice ball across from Leao and a nice finish from Morata, but
I don't
nothing
think
like
it
really
was
helps.
enough to give him the top of
That's
the
what I
match,
mean.
though.
I couldn't give
Yeah.
it to either. I couldn't really give it to either. Yeah,
I give it to
nobody
Leao
scored.
more than anyone for the assist, I guess. But I mean, even he didn't have the world's greatest game. But compared to everyone else, I guess that's who I'll pick if I have to. If not, happy to just move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to look who got the highest. Fofana got the highest in hours, it looks like. I guess Maignan, actually. Maignan made some saves. Some big
Fofana,
saves. He
wow.
made 6 of them.
I
No,
know I get a
Maignan
lot
got
of
man of
hate
the
in the
match.
comments, but man, Isaac's ratings get even more
Maignan
hateful.
got man of the match. Maignan got a 7. Fofana got a 6.5. So
Oof,
that seems more accurate.
5.5 for me. Red
For
Star?
Fofana? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't remember if he did anything. Red Star, then. Right, we know the mission. Win our last 3 to get through in the top 8 positions. This ain't going to be easy, this one, I don't think. You're
I
chuckling
mean,
away there.
yeah, I'm laughing because we just did like a 30-minute thing about how it's
Yeah, I know.
over. I hate it all, and then I'm about to, but yeah, we're winning the rest of these games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
um,
spot on.
yeah, Red Star has a chance. What's
Yeah,
crazy,
they really do.
if you
Mm.
look at the table currently, the team in last place to go through right now is Real Madrid on 6. Red Star has 3 points. They beat us. They could jump Real Madrid,
Mm.
and I think it'd be crazy if Madrid and PSG don't qualify, but that's neither here nor there. Um, we should be able to beat Red Star. I don't think they're that good of a team. Is this an away game? No, this is at home.
No, we're at home.
I mean, we're gonna win it. It might be a little tough, but we're gonna win it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be
Um,
Chukwueze, just like for like with Pulisic. I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe
That,
Tammy up top.
well, it has to be for this one, right? Like against a low block team, I don't think you're gonna put RLC in. I mean, we'll wait and see. We'll probably be proven wrong on that front.
My question is, do you start Okafor over Liao, knowing that your other main attacking threat is out for the rest of the calendar year?
You just can't, can you? You just can't. Because like the Napoli game when we learned that Pulisic was out and then he didn't start Leao, we beefed at him afterwards. Like you know.
It's true.
That being said, I know it's Red Star as opposed to the league leaders as they were then, and we've got we had Atalanta Friday. This game's on Wednesday, then another game's Sunday. So it's a bit more forgiving than the usual Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. There's just a little bit more breathing room between the games. I think you've just got to be very careful in how you manage the minutes of these of players lightly out at this point in the season. But we're four games from the end of the year, I guess. But it's not like there's a winter break like there was before. We then jet off to Saudi Arabia for the Super Cup. So I don't know. Red Star, anyway. Here's why we're not going to win. They have won 16 of their 17 league games this season. They drew the other one, so they're still unbeaten in the league. They've scored 55 goals and let in 9. And they're 15 points ahead of Partizan, who are in second, who are their big rivals. So they're running away with the league. Obviously, they found things a bit more difficult in the Champions League. They've lost to Inter and they've lost to Barcelona. Those are the two teams that, are, I guess, in and around our level, probably a bit better, that have inflicted some defeats. But they put 5 past Stuttgart in the last game, beaten 5-1. And I watched that game because it was in the early kickoff slot, and they looked really good. Really, really good. They've had 16 different scorers this season, which is mental. And Daye's got 9. Then they've got a few who are on 5 and 4 goals. So they're a bit of a spread threat. It's not like you can just neutralise one guy and we should be fine. But yeah, I can see him coming and doing a job on us, I really can. I don't think we're going to lose, but I can see it being awful. I see it being sort of a 0-0 or a 1-1 or something like that, especially if we rotate. It has to be a win, otherwise everyone will turn, and rightly so. They'll be calling for his head. Like the bare minimum was to win out in the Champions League, and if you don't do that, then
Well, the last time we played them was 2021, the Champions League, the Scudetto season. Played them twice, Europa League knockouts, 2 draws. We went through on away goal. That was the last year of the away goal rule. But 2 draws, a 2-2 and a 1-1. And then the last time we beat them was 2006 in the Champions League qualifier round, 1-0. So they've definitely been a tough team for us historically. That said, none of the players from either of those seasons are still on the team. So
Calabria.
Oh my God! Yeah, forgot about Calabria. He was there.
Leao, Teo, Benacer, quite a few from 2021.
Yeah, you're right. It's not as long ago as I thought, apparently.
Yeah, I remember that being a really tough watch. And Stankovic was their head coach, who was obviously an Inter legend. So it was like the whole added meaning of that. And yeah, we really did scrape through. Found it very, very tough. I think it was behind closed doors,
probably.
As well. But yeah, it's a big advantage this being at home and not at their place because it's a really, really rowdy atmosphere. They're not allowed fans for this because they kicked off in a previous game, so there's no away fans for it. Again, probably helps us because they would be loud. Be interested to see what kind of atmosphere it is at San Siro because, you got to imagine there'll be a decent attendance there, but it's like, if we don't get in control of the game early, will the fans make it aware that not happy about the way things are going? I think possibly. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's going to be wholesale changes to the team at the moment. It has to be Chukwueze in for Pulisic. Then what you do with Musa, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe even for this game, you can get away with playing Morata behind Abraham again. I just don't. I don't know. I don't care.
You can play Musa behind him. I mean, like, Musa's a midfielder. That's where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. Play 3. Yeah, I don't think we'll win. Anyway, that's my prediction.
No. 3-1.
But after that, we've got Girona at home, which I'd feel more confident about, weirdly, and Dinamo Zagreb away, which will be another tough trip.
I did predict a loss in our group chat, but I don't know.
You're feeling better about it after Friday. Brilliant performance. Just got you optimistic again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, let's move on. Anyway,
okay.
Genoa at home, 125th anniversary game. I did an article about all the celebrations that are happening, which I'm going to try and quickly dig out. But basically, obviously we've got the anniversary shirt, that's coming out, that is out, and the players will wear that. Oh yeah, a little side note: the women played the derby at San Siro for the first time ever on Sunday, and they got to wear the shirts first, and they look really, really good on. So that was good. They drew one apiece. Over 2,000 fans there, which is funny because it looked empty then as a result. But yeah, bit of a landmark there. So for this, we've got a three-tier TIFO, three-tier display that fans will contribute to holding stuff up. There's been a number of special guests that have been invited and are expected to come. Van Basten, Hullet, Rijkaard, Seedorf, Inzaghi, Pato, Tassotti, Donadoni, Costa Curta, Serginho, all them. Maldini's been sent an invite, but don't know if he's going to show up or not. Boban has apparently already said no, and that's kind of understandable given that still an ongoing lawsuit, or it's just been settled. Sorry. And then on the pitch, there is going to be 3 new inductees to the Hall of Fame, and it's going to be 3 of the following 6 names: Van Basten, Shevchenko, Pato, Inzaghi, Weah, Ibrahimovic. Which 3 are you picking out of those?
Which
Van
ones am I
Basten
picking,
has
or who
to
do I
be.
think it's going to be?
Which
So
are you
it's
picking? I
different.
mean, Ibra's in it. Fucking hell, he works for the club.
Yeah. So Ibra's getting it.
Yeah.
It's the only legend that Jerry knows. Uh, cut that. Oh, I do the editing. No worries. Ibra's going to be in it. Zlatan for sure.
Yeah.
Van Basten should be in it already. I don't know why he's not. And Shevchenko.
Oh yeah. So I should clarify that this is a new Hall of Fame. So there is an AC Milan Hall of Fame, and there are a number of people who are already part of this. But for some reason, they've launched an Emirates Hall of Fame. Gotta imagine there's some money involved in there somewhere, and they're basically just going through the process again of letting people into this new Hall of Fame. Very strange, if you ask me.
Does
But
this Emirates Hall of Fame, does that include other clubs?
no, I don't believe so. It's just for us. I don't get it. I didn't get it at the time. I still don't get it now. But we've got a new Hall of Fame, basically. I
Start
think
over. Okay.
I think Van Basten. Fuck Weah. Ever since he's left, he's been going on about how much
Yeah,
he
he's not going to be
supported
way.
Juventus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so no chance. Pato I'd love, but I don't think the longevity's there. Inzaghi I'd love too, and scored so many important goals. Yeah, but I think you're right with the 3 that you said. So yeah, it'll be an occasion. It's going to be more than a normal home game, is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, it is a celebration of sorts. Hopefully, it's backed up by 3 points. But I remember the 120th anniversary, when we had the thin striped kits with the gold badge, and we served up a stinker against somebody. I think we drew 0-0 with Sampdoria or something. I could see it being exactly the same, to be honest. Like, all the distractions are away from the field, and therefore we'll
I'm
fucking
curious
serve.
why we're going all out to celebrate 125 years. Like, obviously, it's an anniversary, and
Hmm.
but it does. Is it really one of the big ones?
No, not like 100th, is it?
Yeah, like a
100, 150.
centennial. Even if it like 150 makes more sense. I mean, 125. Like, I get it. It's not like an abnormal year to celebrate, but the
Yeah,
magnitude with which we're celebrating just seems odd.
yeah. I think you've almost got to settle on like 10s or 25s. So you
Yeah,
can go 100, 110, 120, and we've done 120. Or you've got to go 125, 150, 175. Instead, it's just like, fuck it, bang out another shirt.
yeah. Every 5 years we're doing one.
Yeah, yeah,
Which to
yeah.
be fair, like every 5 years I will buy a nice shirt. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're doing the right thing, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. And we'll wait and see what the fuck happens with Genoa, because they're a completely different proposition to what they were at the start of the season. Obviously, they sacked Alberto Gilardino, who I thought had done a good job with them last season. They are currently managed by Patrick Vieira, so ex-Milan midfielder in charge. They've had a little bit of an upturn recently as well. They were in the relegation zone. But they've beaten in recent weeks Parma away, drew with Como, drew with Cagliari, won away at Udinese, most recently drew 0-0 with Torino. So they seem to have got a bit more solid at the very least, and they've climbed their way up to 14th in the table, so no longer in the relegation zone. But they're not a very good team. They're still struggling to score goals and still struggling to keep them out.
Well,
Unbeaten in 6, though, am I seeing here? Unbeaten in 5.
that's interesting.
Less than,
Well,
more than us.
speaking of not very good. Two of my favorite former Milan players are at Genoa right now. Uh, the man, the myth, the legend, Junior Macias, and
He was injured, by the way, sadly.
no, poor guy.
Yeah.
What a game for him to come
Yeah.
back for. And Mario
Yeah.
Balotelli has not scored a single goal in Serie A since his return. He's only made substitution appearances and he's received 2 yellow cards. So
Hmm.
expect that goal. Expect it. And I'll celebrate.
It's so obviously coming in it. And then we'll just sign him in January, bit of cover.
Yes.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if Vieira's just like, I'm going to throw you in because I know what this game would mean to you. I loved him, me. I really, really did. This season, Pinamonti's been banging him in. Another guy I don't like because of just previous stuff. But he's got 5 goals, 1 assist. Aside from that, you're looking at wow. They've only had 7 goal scorers this season. Voliaccio has got 2. Ekator, Frendrup, De Winter, Miretti, and Macias all on 1 goal. The rest of the team just haven't scored. So basically, Pinamonti's threat, shut him down, and you're looking good. Be interesting to see Frendrup up close because there's a lot of sources that are saying that he's a target for January. So this is like an audition of sorts. It's a high-level game to see how he gets on, and no doubt Moncada will be watching him closely. But yeah, I do actually think we'll win this, probably. I don't think Genoa are anything too extraordinary. 2-1, though.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, 2-1 works.
Never keeping a clean sheet again. Convinced. Right, have we got time for 1 or 2 questions?
Yeah, we could do a couple questions.
Just need to find the Discord Pod Questions channel. JT Physio asks, well, Shubes has asked an interesting question. That was on the 3rd of December. He says, with Gilardino now available after leaving Genoa, do we think he should be considered in the case Fonseca falters? Situation at Genoa can hardly be pinned on him. Great coaching record against top 6. Prefers a 3-man defence. Now, I
When
don't
did he get sacked?
A few weeks ago. I don't disagree that Gilardino is an interesting profile as a coach, but can you imagine the PR disaster if we sacked Fonseca and went for someone that Genoa have just sacked because he had them in the relegation zone?
Yeah, so I know he's talking in general and not just
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Genoa, but his record against the top 6, draw against Inter, lost to Juve, lost to Atalanta, lost to Lazio, lost to Fiorentina, and hasn't played Napoli. So
Is that this season, yeah?
that's this season,
That's
yeah.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I guess you got 10 games or something. It's pretty rough to play all them in your first
They
10.
are unbeaten in 5, though. 3 draws
Yeah.
and 2 wins. The wins
Under
against
Vieira.
Parma, who we didn't win against, and Udinese. Have we played them yet?
Udinese, yeah, we won 1-0. That was when Reinders got sent off.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Chukwueze scored the winner and was man of the match. Funny. So yeah, I see. I like it. I like left field shouts like that because it just gets you brain going about things you haven't previously considered. I just don't think that the management would do that, knowing how the fan base would kick off. JT Physio, when Benacer returns to full match fitness, do you think we might finally see an actual 4-3-3?
Oh, well, I thought he was going to ask, will we see him return to starting lineup? I was going to say yes. But will we see a real 4-3-3?
Yes and yes.
I doubt it. I think he's just going to stick with this thing until he's done.
I never want to see the 4-2-3-1 again. And that's the formation that won us the title. And I was utterly convinced for a while that it was the best system that you could play for so many
It was
reasons.
my favorite formation in FIFA since like FIFA 12 up to, I don't know, whenever I stopped playing, 19, something like that. So.
23. No, now I'm so done with it. I'm ready to see a 3-man defense, and I know people have been kicking off about that, but like I did an article about why a 3-4-3 could work for us, and you just kind of said it then about how it makes a lot of sense for the squad that we've got and the fact that we keep conceding shit goals.
Scout's honor.
Yeah,
I didn't know you wrote that article. So
well, great minds think alike. That's strange because you read everything that we put on the website. Isn't that right, mate? Look, what I think we're going to need to be prepared for is Benacer being shit for a few weeks, because he's been out for so long that I think to expect him to come back and contribute instantly to a high level is difficult. And I don't know if he'll want to kind of disrupt the chemistry and the cohesion that Fofana and Reinders have built up. That being said, you could make an argument that Benacer could return to that 10 role that he was doing okay in under Pioli, and maybe give us something a bit different there, because he is more technical. And but I don't know. I'd be interested to see that, really. But my gut feeling is that we finally got someone who can slot into the pivot and give one of those two a break.
Yeah.
But then we're all crying out for the formation change. So, like, this would give you the chance to do it. I think it becomes a totally different discussion if Benacer comes back and we know we're going to sign someone in January, which hopefully is the case, because then we've all of a sudden got 4 genuine options for the 2 spots. Or you could make it, if we did a midfield 3, you could make it 5 or 6 into those 3, because Musa or Loftus-Cheek could then more naturally play in the midfield. So, yeah, I think a lot hinges on what we do in January, but just got to hope Benacer comes back healthy. And for his sake, because he's been so tortured by injuries, I just hope he stays injury-free for a while. But I think no matter what, we're looking at the last few months of his time with us. I think he leaves in the summer. So, yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. I hope not. But
No. Nintendo Nino asks how much of a disaster is not qualifying for the Champions League, considering the squad we have. It's a big disaster. It would be a huge disaster.
Have you heard of Chernobyl? It'd be a bigger disaster than that.
Like Fukushima. That's like the less hipster Chernobyl. Yeah, it would be really bad. Like, we all know it. The top 4/top 5, it might be top 5, is the minimum objective. It is the absolute minimum expectation. And at the moment, we are 9 points off that minimum objective. So things are going very badly on that front.
The last time we missed out on Champions League, how many years was it until we returned? 7? 6?
Yeah, 7,
something like
8? 8?
2013, 14, 15.
Did we return in 21-22? We did, the year that we won the league. So 7. 14-21. Yeah, not good. We don't want that. It would set the project back. I think it would throw a lot of the renewals into jeopardy. I think players would want to leave, and rightly so. And probably see a downsizing in the amount that we spend on the squad and stuff. And, you know, Scaroni and some other figures have always banged on about how that's like the main thing that we aim for every season. If you don't achieve the bare minimum that you've set out to do as a project and as a lead, as an ownership group, and as the management, then it would force some pretty big reflections. And I think we'd see some changes higher up than just the playing squad. That would be my gut feeling. But we don't want to contemplate that just yet. Let's end the year well and hope we can pick up some pieces. Not that we're holding our breath. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening. Been a rant. Been a blast. It's been a doozy, as they say. Always helps to talk things through. We're back in a week with another counselling session. In the meantime, thank you to everybody who continues to listen to the podcast, continues to soak in the Substack content, continues to read the website. Appreciate that it's not the easiest time to be a Milan fan at the moment when we're down in 7th, but brighter days ahead, hopefully, right? Got to be. We're going to die one day, aren't we?
Well, it is winter, so we do not have brighter days.
No, you're right, yeah. You can say it when the winter solstice comes along. That'd be good if De Winter scores the winner for Genoa. That could be the title. De Winter solstice. Yeah, I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. Find me on Twitter, at Ollie Fisher. AJ, cheers for joining.
Yep. See you guys whenever you choose to watch again. Because I'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be here. We're chained to the role. Cheers. Have a good week, everyone.
Gol! Ancora Teo! È una meraviglia! Il gol di Teo Hernandez da un'area all'altra! È una meraviglia! Senti il mio cuore!